Okay, today we're looking at 10.8 equations of circles. If you've been keeping up, this is the last section of our chapter. And so we have a quiz tomorrow. We have review tomorrow and a quiz on Friday. Probably review on Monday next week and then test on Tuesday of next week. So just to keep us on our toes about all of that. Again, 10.8 equations of circles. The first thing that I'm going to do is to go through the finding the equation of a circle. So if we had a circle, we'll deal with that. And say we put it in the coordinate plane. So what is the equation of a circle? Well, if we look at something like the radius, right? Well, every distance from the center of the circle to the circle is going to be the length of the radius. So it's always the same distance. That's because the equation for a circle is, right, the set of points, sorry, did I say equation? The definition is the set of points equidistant around a given point, the center, right? So it's all of the points that are equidistant around here. Well, in that you hear the word distance, right? Equidistant. So this is talking about this formula that we've talked about a number of times this year in varying depths. X squared minus x1 plus y squared minus y1 squared. So we've talked about this in relation to the Pythagorean theorem. We've talked about it, just how it works in the plane itself. So here we do have, if this is a point, call this point xy, and then we make this right triangle. This side has a length of x, this side has a length of y. All right, and then the radius is the hypotenuse, the length, right? All right, there's going to be one more thing that we do. Now here it's at the origin, but in general this point can be anywhere in the plane. And we're going to call that point HK. All right, so we're going to do some substituting here. The distance we're talking about is the radius r. Now we're going to change x2 to just x minus the other value of x, which is h. Y2 is y minus k, which is the other y value. And then if we square both sides, we get r squared is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, which is the equation of a circle. This is where HK is the center. And R is the radius. And that is really the only thing that we need to know for today, is that equation. All right, so we're going to look at a few examples then. say that we wanted to write an equation of each of the circles that I'm going to describe. So say we wanted a center at 9, 0 and a radius of 5. So what would this equation look like? Just a note up here, a lot of times you will see it written the opposite way. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where the r squared is on the right. It is the same equation, right? But we're going to normally put the r squared on the right. So here, the equation is simply x minus h. H is the x value of the center, which is 9. Plus y minus k. Well, k is 0. So if we have y minus 0 is y squared equals 5 squared, which is 25. So the equation of the circle with a center at 9, 0 and a radius of 5 is x minus 9 squared plus y squared equals 25. You will notice that it's x minus 9, not x plus 9. Right? Again, the equation is x minus h, and we're just substituting it in. Okay. Let's take a look at another one. Say that we had a circle, but it was in the coordinate plane. Say that it had a center at 2, 1 and a point on the circle 4, 1. I should have made that much bigger. Again, the center is 2, 1. So we might start by just pulling that information off. If you turn it sideways, it looks kind of like a bad smiley face. We have a center at 2, 1. And what is our radius? The radius is the distance between the center and a point on the circle. And because we have the center and a point on the circle that are on the same horizontal line, right, 2, 1 and 4, 1, we can just subtract and find that the radius is 2. And then to write our circle, we have x minus the x value at the center, which is 2, y minus 1 equals the radius squared, r squared, which is 4. And we'll say one of the most frequently forgotten things here is these squares, or to square the radius. So make sure we remember to do that. What if we had the center at the origin and the circle went through the point 2, 2? Well, a center at the origin means the center is at 0, 0. Now, how is it going through 2, 2 going to be helpful for us? Well, so far what we've needed every time to come up with our equation is the center and the radius. So what we need to do is find the radius here. Can we find the radius or the distance from the center to the circle if we know 2 points, 0, 0 and 2, 2? Would hope so. That is the distance formula. We have 2 minus 0 squared plus 2 minus 0 squared. That's 4 plus 4. So our distance is the square root of 8. That is the same as the radius. You can change that over to 2 root 2 if you want to. I'm going to suggest that we don't here. We don't actually care what the radius is. We're going to care what the radius squared is. And it's actually easier to find the radius squared off of the square root of 8 than 2 root 2. So in our equation, we have x minus h. Well, h is 0. So we just have x squared plus y minus k. K is 0. So we have y squared equals r squared. Well, the square root of 8 squared is 8. All right, next part we're going to do is state the coordinates of the center. And the measure of the radius. All right. X squared minus 6x plus y squared plus 4y equals 3. All right. This one will be harder than things that I plan to give you. In fact, I'm not 100% sure that you have learned the necessary things to do this. Throwing it out here more as either a reminder to those of you who have seen it before or a kind of pre-lesson on it for those who haven't. It will come up in Algebra 2, or it should come up in Algebra 2 next year, minimally, but some of you may have seen it before. So it's called completing the square. So we have x squared minus 6x. And what we want to do is to try to make our equation, this equation, look something more like x minus 9 squared plus y squared, or an x squared minus 2, or x minus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared, which it doesn't look like right now. So to do that, what we do is we take half of this value and square it. Half of negative 3 is, half of negative 6 is negative 3, and square it is positive 9. So we're going to add 9. Then we have plus y squared plus 4y. Half of 4 is 2, squared is 4. Now what do we do to this side? We added 9 and we added 4, which is 13. So we have to add 13 to the other side as well. X squared minus 6x plus 9 is x minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 16. So we have a center at 3, negative 2, and a radius of 4. More likely what I'll have you look at would be something like the second one. That would be something like x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared is 5. So don't get confused here and try to go backwards. We are not actually squaring x plus 2, right? This is the form that we want, right? So what is our h? So we have x plus 2. In our formula, it's x minus h. So since we have a plus here, we need a negative 2. Y minus 3, gives us a center of negative 2, 3. The radius is not 5. The radius is not 2.5. Right? So two common mistakes I see here. 5 is the radius squared, right? R squared equals 5. So the radius itself is the square root of 5. And lastly, find the point of intersection. This is going to be between a line and a circle. We might have something like x squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 8. And y equals x minus 2. Right? We're finding a point of intersection. That is where the two lines are the same, right? So when they have the same coordinate, that means their x values have to be the same at that point and the y values have to be the same. So here I'm going to suggest that we just substitute in x minus 2 for y. We get x squared plus, substituting in x minus 2 in place of y. It keeps, right? It keeps that plus 2. So just that x minus 2 going in straight for y, we get x minus 2 plus 2. X squared plus negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So we get another x squared equals 8. It is 2x squared equals 8. X squared equals 4. Ooh, I made a mistake in my notes. And x is, see what you're saying is 2. Probably. And I'm saying you're half wrong, just like I was half wrong in my notes. The answer is plus or minus 2. And the reason for that is because, is it plus or minus 2? Let's see. Yeah, so again, x equals plus or minus 2 because negative 2 squared is 4, right? Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. So this is actually what we're looking at here. That's not actually what the question is asking. Though my question is wrong. It should be find the point or points of the intersection. And so, well, what are those points? Well, if x is positive 2, then y equals 2 minus 2, which is 0. So one of our points is 2, 0. If x is negative 2, y is negative 2 minus 2, which is negative 4. So a second point would be negative 2, negative 4. Now what you would do maybe is go back and check those in the first equation as well. 2 squared plus 2 squared, that's 2, 0, right, is 8. And then the second one, negative 2 squared is 4 plus negative 4 plus 2 is 2. So 2 squared plus 2 squared is 4 plus 4 is 8. So both of these work. Our solutions are here. If you have any problem believing me on this, then I have a visual to help you with it, and I'm not going to do it myself this time. I'm just going to show you this. So I've graphed both of these equations. I have the equation and the second equation. You'll notice that we get a circle and a line intersects at 2, 0 and negative 2, 4. You might also notice it's interesting that this specific line is also the diameter, right? Doesn't have to be, right, in these problems, just happens to be here. And that this is a secant. If we only had one intersection, we would expect to find it to be a tangent, right? This one has 2 points of intersection, making it a secant line. All right. Last thing then is homework. You're going to go to page 760. You're going to do numbers 2 through 8, 14 to 20, 30, and 52 to 60. All of that is evens. Tomorrow there will be no video, just a review assignment, and Friday a quiz.